Good morning, guys. I'm Chris, and welcome back to a little Christmas bonus episode of Rift Amps. Yep, so today's Saturday, the 21st of December. I closed yesterday for Christmas, so all the amps that were in for repair that needed collecting have now gone out the door, which I'm really pleased about because, as you know, there are a couple that are hanging around that I needed to get rid of. I've given the place a bit of a tidy up and a sort out, shuttered the place for Christmas. However, not really, because even though I'm closed for work, no more customers coming in, dropping stuff off, collecting stuff. I'm not building customer stuff. I'm not repairing customer stuff. This is also my own little man cave where I come down to do my own stuff. And I thought with this video, I'd show you some of the stuff that I do, that's not really official Rift work, as it were. I thought you might be interested in that. So I thought I'd show you what I'm going to get up to today. I'm here for a couple of hours. I've actually really only come in because there are a couple of courier deliveries coming today. And if they don't arrive today, some people aren't getting their Christmas presents, but also I've got some parts coming in. I don't want them sitting in warehouses over Christmas. So I'm in today waiting for couriers. So yeah, let's get some stuff done. So one thing I need to get done over the Christmas break, I'm not going to get it all done today, so don't shout at me that you're not going to get a finish to this, but these 5 chassis here are all prototypes that I've built over the years for various things where I've been trying things out. And usually what I do with the prototypes is, they're built as proof of concept, right? Just to see if things work the way I want them to do. And then when amps finally go into production, they kind of sit on a shelf for a bit. I might end up robbing parts off them or whatever. But yeah, they're never good enough to sell because they're test pieces, right? And so what I'm going to do over this Christmas break is I've got 3 PR style builds that were all various stages of production and design. They're all going to get stripped down because I want the transformers and the sockets and bits for other stuff. I've got this one here. This was when old Bernie was alive, bless him. He asked me to do a signature amp for him, and we worked through a couple of prototypes, and this was one of them. This is not the final prototype that he got to play and mess around with. I'm never going to strip that one down, mainly because Bernie was such a nice chap to me. He'd always give me the time of day. He'd spend a lot of hours here in the workshop, talking through stuff and, just being an amazing person. So the final prototype I'd always keep, but this is one of the early ones. And I've already had the board out and nicked some bits off it. I think I've nicked a transformer off it already. But yeah, that's what that one is. But yeah, obviously we never got round to releasing a signature amp because unfortunately he fell ill and then eventually passed away. I do miss him terribly because he's such a nice bloke. But yeah, that's the pre-prototype Bernie Marsden signature. The prototype Bernie Marsden signature is on the shelf out the back and no one's ever having that. That's my little tribute to him. Anyway, this thing here, I was once asked a long time ago now to build a particular style of amplifier for somebody, and this was the prototype that we built. It was a best way to describe it would be it's one of the John Mayer tone, but not achieving it in the standard way, which would be, like a Dumble style amplifier or something like, or a 2-rock style amp. It's do it differently. And we kind of achieved that with this. Now, the reason I haven't stripped it down yet is I've always I've got a soft spot for it. And I don't know why. Because that project fell through. Obviously, it never went forward. But this amp, it always sounded better than I thought it ever could, but it didn't quite do, it didn't sound like a Rift amp, and it didn't do what Rift amps do. And so even though I was never truly attached to it, I still have like this little attachment to it where sometimes I'll stick a set of valves in it, turn it on, play it, and think, oh god, that's really good. That's really good. But yeah, I want the transformers for something else. So yeah, that's all coming apart. It's a mess inside anyway. So yeah, enough said about that. The better. So that's the 5 chassis really that I want to get stripped down. So I can recover some of the parts and build more prototypes, because I don't spend enough time these days doing development and R&D and designing stuff. I do a lot of building, building orders, of course, and repairing stuff and servicing that comes through the door, but I rarely make time to actually do some proper R&D. So the first step is to get these chassis stripped down, and then I've got a nice selection of parts that I can do more prototyping with, because I do want to, with this chassis, I can build something into it without using the same valve lineup, sorry, the same valve socket complement. It's 100 watt amp in case you haven't worked it out. The transformers are correct, so I can build another circuit into that will be more rift. With these, don't know yet. I definitely want to get the Beltons off these two. And the Mark 1 pre-prototype Bernie Marsden, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound great. That's why we did the second one. But yeah, that's got to come apart. But yeah, so that's that basically. I've rambled on for too long, but you get the idea. Okay, so one of the things I've been meaning to get around to doing, and I'm not going to get this done over the Christmas break at all, but I want to crack on with it, do you remember I uploaded to my own website a download file for a Trainwreck Express build? And this is, I've built these before, but I wanted to do it into a JTM 45 style chassis. That was the whole point. I was going to show off how flexible and versatile these chassis can be. And if you do it, well, in your standard amp build style with a centralized circuit board with all your components on, you can do some quite cool things with it. And a lot of you know, I've been messing around with transformers, speaking to different people, trying to get the right stuff and whatever, all that kind of stuff. And the problem is this has never been priority for me, really, because I've got paid work to do. So, but anyway, we've got time. We've got time to have a think about it. So I want to get this built. And by the way, we're using the E12 values, not some of the weirder values that the original Express had. And you remember in the past, I got the chassis and I started to drill it and mark it out where things are going to go. And I've cut my board material down. I've got my layout on it there. So I got to a certain stage with it, and then I just put it to the side whilst I did some transformer searching. Turns out I didn't need to. Didn't need to do any of that, because in storage out the back, I found both a 50 watt power transformer, Marshall spec. It's a reissue. I think it's a Haybower. Might be wrong. I can't remember. But yeah, I've got that. And what I've also got is an old 70s Drake 50 watt output transformer, number 783257. Now these were fitted to 50 watt JMPs from Marshall that went to Canada. And the reason they're different is that that's the primary side. The secondary side only has 3 wires. It's got a common, it's got a 4 ohm, and it's got an 8 ohm. There is no 16 ohm tap on that transformer. And it was used in the Canadian version of the base model, I believe. Maybe some others. But I've had this for ages. And I know what you're thinking. Well, surely the primary impedance is going to be wrong for a Trainwreck Express. Well, did you know part of the Trainwreck sound is to use double the standard primary impedance that the valves expect? So, for example, two 6L6s for 50 watts like to run around 4K. Well, you can run them at 8K and you get quite a different sound. But the magic is with EL34s, apparently. And apparently a big part of the Trainwreck sound was to use a higher impedance with the same voltage as a standard, or what the valves would expect, but you use a higher impedance on the primary, and that's how they got some of that touch response sound and feel from those amps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repurpose this transformer and use it in this build. And what we're going to do is it's got I think it's got a 3K4 primary, but we'll measure that. We'll inject 1 volt into it and we'll work it all out. Work out the winding ratio and the turns ratio and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to use the 4 ohm tap as 8 ohms and the 8 ohm tap as 16. Okay, so when I connect, for example, to the 4 ohm tap an 8 ohm speaker, and we're going to call it the 8 ohm tap, this is no longer going to be a 3K4, it should be a 6K8. And I want to see what that does. I know what it's going to do, but I'm really interested to see, because I've done it with modern transformers before, but I haven't done it with an old Drake. Now, from all the research that I've done, the wire inside of this should quite happily handle that, so there is no risk of it burning out. All right, and I think that's going to be a good use. And we're going to repurpose that old Drake transformer from a Canadian Marshall, use it in our Trainwreck build. So we're going to run what I think is going to be almost a 7K primary, which is going to be really interesting to see what that does to our harmonics and things. And the best thing about it is if I connect the 8 ohm tap to the 4, so an 8 ohm load to the 4 ohm tap, I'll get 6K8, yeah? But I could also then just connect the 8 ohm tap, the 8 ohm load to an 8 ohm tap and get 3K4. Then what we can do is some side-by-side A-B comparison of different harmonics and things and see how the amplifier responds to that different impedance, which I think will be really, really interesting. So that's what we're going to do. Going to finally get around to building this Trainwreck amp. We're going to use a modern, high-quality 50-watt mains transformer, and we're going to use the old Drake 783257 output transformer. Now remind me, there's no choke on this amp, is there? No, because we used the 1K 25 watt resistor that I've already drilled for. Yeah, that's right. Aha. So what else do I need to do to crack on with this then? Well, I want to double check my board design, make sure I'm happy with everything. I think I am. You also see I'm not using any CAN capacitors. It's all going to be on the centralized board. So quite happy with that. Is there anything else? We've got presence control by looks of things. Yeah. Okay. What else? No, I think we're good. So I need to drill 2 sockets on the back, 8 and 16. Need to have my IEC socket on the back. Can you see what I'm pointing at? Yeah, you can. We're going to need, see on this diagram I've got 4, 8 and 16, but we're just going to have 2 sockets. On the front, on this diagram, I've got an on-off switch and a separate standby switch, but I might do, what I like to do is just a single on standby off switch, create some space, dual light, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knobs, got a voicing switch as well, and a single input. So yeah, oh that's cool, okay. So I need to decide on my front spacing. Now, so the chassis is 433mm wide, which is 17 and 1/16, 1/860, yeah. But we're going to work in metric, and the opening of a chassis of a cabinet, sorry, is usually 60mm. Okay, even though this chassis is 65mm or 64 probably, we are going to measure down 60mm from the top, so we know the lowest point of the opening. This will all make sense, trust me. This will all make sense. Where's my pencil sharpener? Tidied up yesterday, and now I can't find anything. Why does that happen? Do I have a sharper pencil in stock? Yes, I do. Right. So 60mm down gives us the clearance to the cabinet opening, and therefore we want our centre line to be 30mm down, which is where I want the controls to be. So that's going to be our centre line. Right, cool. Now if I get another faceplate that I know the spacing on, for example, the Ainsley Lister signature, we can use that as a template. Because we're going to use the same hole spacing. The only thing is, I need to think about that switch, don't I? I need to think about this switch here. It's a bright switch. Not going to be a lot of room there, is there, if you look at the dial? So how else could we do that? Could we do it on a pull switch? Yeah, we could do it on a pull switch, couldn't we? Yeah, that's easy enough. That's probably better, actually. So we're going to go, come on, let's get you square. Input. Single input. Is it volume, treble, middle, bass, presence? Volume, treble, middle, bass, presence. Which is those. I want my on-off switch where I have it on the Ainsley Sig, which is here. Now I have to decide where I want, that's my on standby off, sorry, where I want my jewel light to be. Do I want the jewel light there? Because normally we have it there and then Ainsley signature on the plate. Do I want to retain that? Because we haven't got those two, that's going to look weird on its own, isn't it? That is going to look weird. And I want it to be quite far away. So have I got another faceplate where I've got that spacing on? I bet I do. I do. This is an Americana faceplate. Behave. There. That's where we want it to be. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So we've got in, volume, treble, middle, bass, presence, dual, and then on, standby, off. Cool. So that's that then. That's easy enough done, isn't it? What do you think? Do you like that? I like that. I'm pleased with that. And on the back, so I've already marked the grommet hole where the wires are going to come in from the transformer. See that? So ideally we need to find out how far in that is from one edge. I've already marked it, 7 5/16. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 5/16 will be there. 1, 2, 5/16. (15/16). Read your own writing. Even that doesn't look right. Actually looks like it's at 8 inches. Why have I done it there then? Yeah. 8 inches. That makes more sense, doesn't it? So, 8 inches. Yep, that lines up. Okay, we need to do the same again. We need to find 30mm from the top edge, because that will be our center line. Okay, and the way you do speaker sockets is 1 inch spacing. So we'll go there and there. They're now 1 inch apart. You can go more, of course, but 1 inch spacing is easy to do. So that's going to be our holes right there. Other thing we need is IEC socket, which I generally do 87mm. I don't know why. This is why you all need to learn to work. Oh, I know why. It's because of the shape of the back panel. It's got the angled side, so 87mm is correct. And that's going to put it clear of this output valve here. Lovely! So that's going to need a 16mm hole. They're going to need 10mm holes. Right, so that's my layout. and then we'd have, what should we call it? We need a name for this, don't we? Car Crash Express. We'll come up with something better. All right. Anyway, so that's that. That's where we are. The other thing we need to do is mark on transformer mounts and bolts. Ugh. So with the mains transformer, what you want to do is, I want to be a spot. If I put a straight edge on it and then come up and butt up against it, that's going to be the front of the cabinet, so we can't have it that far forward. So we need to bring it back somewhat. Something about there. Also need to look out the wiring diagram for this so I know what wires are going where. On this diagram I want a grommet at the front there, that's easy enough. So we'll just square that up on the front. Draw on my mounting holes. The only other thing I need to do, whilst I'm thinking about it, because there's going to be an EL, there's going to be a valve there, isn't there? Look. Can you see? Yes, you can. I just want to make sure I've left enough room, which I have. I can't really get that any further over. But with those there, we've got some space. How much clearance have we got? Roughly. The shortest dimension. We've got 20.5 millimeters, which in inches is 814 thou. All right, ample, absolutely ample. Good, easy enough, job done. Just found a box of 7591s. 7591 valve. Does it have the same pin out as an EL34? No, can't use those. I thought that would be a cool thing to do, but never mind. Right, so that transformer's going there, and we're going to need roughly halfway, we're going to need to put a grommet in, to pass some wires through, which is easy enough. About there. Probably around there we'll do it. Put a 10mm grommet in. We're going to need some grommets this side that I'll work out shortly. And now the output transformer. Can you still see? Can you still see? Not quite, because I've zoomed you in. Right. So we've got our mains transformer is that orientation. So this needs to be at 90 degrees to it, 90 degrees to it. So it can't be that way. So it needs to be this way, which is fine. That way, actually. So shall we say... I want those to be able to get through with ease. That lines up with that grommet quite nicely, doesn't it? And these wires right in the middle of the output transformer. That looks good to me. And there's no choke. So we can just do it like that. And there's no cap cans either. This has all come together quite nicely. What else do I need to consider? The only other thing that I need to consider suppose I could always extend the wires because that's what I'm worrying about. Problem with having the transformer there is this is going to be a very unbalanced amplifier. This transformer, having the transformer, because the centre line's here, right? And with all the weight on one side, it's going to dip. So one option is to do it in an offset cab that I don't really want to do. The other option is to have the transformer further over here. Those wires are going to be probably okay lengthwise, but these will need to be extended. Let me do some research. Hold on. Right, decision made. It's going to go there. Let me tell you why. There is quite a bit of preamp gain in this amp. And I want to keep the output transformer as far away from the preamp as much as I can, at least. And so I need to find a compromise between not being too close to the mains transformer and not being close to the preamp. That's my phase inverter. So as long as let's say I draw an imaginary line between the centre of the phase inverter socket, and I want to keep the end bell of that transformer this side of that line. So the closest I can push that is there. These wires are then okay. These ones might need extending slightly, but I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be the placement. It's not going into a combo, so we won't have a speaker frame there that could get in the way. Do I want to smudge it that way slightly? No, I want to keep it there. That's going to be the answer. Right. Cool, I must have tidied it up a lot better than I thought I did. Can't find anything today. this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. They're the ones we're using. Cool. Are we happy with that? If you're not happy, put your hand up now, let me know. But by the time I read your comment, it's going to be a week or two in the future. Right, more train wrecking. Excellent. So, what else do we need on here? I've drawn on the diagram here a fuse holder, but that's going to be on the side of the chassis, not on the floor, so I don't have to worry about that. But you can't see anything, can you? I'm so sorry. Yeah, sorry, let me show you this fuse holder here. I've drawn it there, but it's actually going to be on the wall of the transformer as well. There's nothing else I need to do. There's nothing else that I need to mark out, apart from a few grounding tabs and things. I can do those later on. That's not a problem. Right. Ugh. Oh no, we're using these ones. I was about to fall at the first hurdle. And then these two. It's about centre. That's about centre. The other one, of course, is we're going to need, so we've got that one there and that one there. We've got that grommet there, but we're going to need one there for the board, for those two wires to come through. So my board in place, roughly, so I'll do it that way, then I can at least visualise the placement of stuff. Transformers going there, so the only place for the hole will be well, in fact, if I have it that, no, because I've still got the heaters as well. That's mounted internally like that, so we could have a, I know it's the wrong way around, bear with me. Could have a grommet there and a grommet there for wires to come through into the chassis. Some 12mm grommets. Yeah, winner. Right, I think I'm happy with that. I think I have made good progress and wasted 25 minutes of your time. And why did I decide to put that there? What was that about? Why is that going there? Oh, we've got to do board mounts as well. Why did I choose to put that resistor there? Surely there's a better place for it. I need to get the schematic. Hold on. Yeah, it is. It's a screen dropper instead of a choke. I'm sure there's a reason I decided to put it there. So we're going to run with it. The only thing I want to do, actually, that's a good point, is it might mean that I drilled a hole in the wrong place, but never mind. If that socket's going to be there, it's going to be a bit close, isn't it? Shall we do it there? Or there? That might be too encroaching on the power transformer. No, we'll run with it. It's only a prototype, isn't it? It's only for a bit of fun. Cool. Right, I think I'm happy with that. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. I do apologise that Trainwrecking Part 2 has taken this long to come out. Part 1 was all the way back in May. It feels like a lifetime ago now, but we are finally making progress. The build is going to start proper very, very soon. So I'm going to keep the Trainwrecking series different from the other Rift stuff, just so we keep it all in a nice place. There will be a playlist on the channel page that we'll keep adding videos to as these things go along. So, as always, please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. It massively helps the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when I post a new video. If you're feeling super generous, join the channel like these guys have. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, Christmas Day, for the first of a multi-part series, Christmas special. You do not want to miss it. It's both revolting and amazing. And I will catch you all at the next one.